Hi, I just want to do a really short, quick video on those of us who have environmental intolerance, multiple chemical sensitivities, Parkinsonism, allergic to the planet, basically, because the planet, no place is safe. Um, you really have to stop dreaming that Snowflake, Arizona, Mount Sasha, and that little island off the coast of South America, and some are going to the tropics. And I only know of one man who successfully lived in the wilderness, Brian McLaughlin. And I'm sorry to say that I didn't realize Facebook would delete his account when he died. He was several years in the wilderness, and but he was strong. I certainly couldn't do what he did. He lived off the land. Yeah. In the summertime, he had a little garden amongst the rocks, and in the winter, he canned, did his own canning and everything on a little outdoor fire. Um, he lived like the Aboriginal natives lived 400 years ago, very successfully. But he wasn't sick the way most of us are. His body was strong, you know what I'm trying to say, and he was wonderfully happy. He was a hermit and he enjoyed it. But people in these so-called paradises, they're living in a tent, they're living in their car. Well, I did that in Ontario, Canada. You can do that anywhere, but you have to slow down and stop panicking, and detoxify. Ochre for Life is the #1 way to detox. There are people doing radical treatments, ACE, something called ACE that the FDA is considering banning because it causes liver and kidney failure. Well, you're going to wind up on dialysis the rest of your life. That's not a solution. And, you know, chelating therapy, ochre's cheaper. Why should you pay $5,000 for something that may or may not work? But anyway, yeah, I did enough research that I can live wherever I am. I have air filters in my apartment. I have toxic fumes coming up from the laundry, and I taped off the windows, and I taped off all along the floorboards because they were coming right up through the floorboards. And at 3 o'clock in the morning, I leave one little window that I didn't tape down. That's the bathroom window, which we have to do because my husband is on a bag. He had bowel cancer, and my research saved his life, quite frankly, because the unions came up from the United States, and they did a research in 1990 on the men in the mines, and they caught his bowel cancer, and he had no symptoms. By the time you get symptoms, he would have died. So, if nothing else, I saved one life, but actually I saved a lot more than that. I saved a few thousand because I helped to get better gas mask equipment for our firemen and for the miners and the mechanics and the factory workers. And I took the streets and I campaigned for our rights for a better treatment. Well, I didn't win on that part in the sense that I got better treatment in the workplace, but thanks to the American Union, not the Canadian didn't care. But God bless Americans. And I know everybody goes about the Americans. Well, listen, nobody's perfect, but there's an awful lot of good Americans, let me tell you, because I'm alive and all my research is 100% free. And you can download it and reprint it and republish it and do what you want with it, infinitum. And but you can control your environment. Now, if there's mold, that's a whole nother issue. We moved into this apartment 2 years ago, and there was no mold. Okay. Then the taps started to leak. Well, did I sit back and wait for them? No. I fought to get new taps and to stop the mold from developing. That's what you have to do. You have to prevent, you have to control and clean the air. And like I say, at 3 o'clock in the morning, I open the window with a little fan and I circulate the air. And I got fans everywhere to circulate the air. Um, and for 1 hour, that's all I need, because otherwise you can get carbon monoxide poisoning living in your own air if you seal it too tight. So, and it so happens I'm good in winter and cold weather, because for me the air is really clean in and I don't need a gas mask to breathe. Well, I still need it for traffic, and I have to control. And I don't have a problem wearing my little gas mask. I love it, and I'm proud to say that I'm wearing a gas mask. So, you know, you can control your environment, and you have to control your food. Right up until June, I got poisoned by mold on food, and I couldn't see it. It's microscopic. But I threw up and I had 4 days of hypothermia, so I knew it was mold, because that's the symptoms of mold. And if it's gas or diesel fumes, well, the symptoms are completely different for me. I kept a journal for 37 years. I know my triggers. I know what my reactions are, and I can diagnose immediately which is causing. And I found that if I got all the other allergies under control, I don't have a problem with Wi-Fi and electricity, providing I get my body completely cleaned out. And I use Okra Detox for that. And that's on my website, which I'll post a thing. So, try and bloom where you are planted, because it can be done. And I moved 44 times. 44 times. Not one place was perfect. I had to learn to deal with the landlord, fight for the rights, to be safe, no matter where I was. So, yes, it can be done. Okay, over and out. Now, I've got snow and I could go skiing, but I've been up all night again. My brain has been overactive, been kind of upset about what's happening with Annie. And she's kind of drowning in self-pity, and that's not going to help. And then she's getting angry with people who try to help her, and that's not going to help. And I understand that. You're in pain. And when you're in pain, your brain explodes. But you got to calm yourself down. Learn to meditate. Take your mind out of yourself and go into the universe, and then look back down on the planet. You're not alone. People are suffering by the millions. And I connect to people like me through Facebook, and I'm thrilled to have survived my condition since 1947, and I'm 80 years old. Yeah. Well, I may not ski today, but maybe tomorrow. Tomorrow's another day. Okay. Love in God's light, and be well.